Hello people, I am the Real Comic Book Gamer, and today we're going to be talking about what's been going on with Red Hood, because I did a video catching you guys up on what's been going on with Nightwing, since he's now Rick Grayson, not Dick Grayson. He lost all his memories. Make sure to check out that video if you haven't seen it yet, and I figured it'd be a good time to also talk about Red Hood, because things are a lot different than if you go back about a dozen issues. Like, things have changed a lot for Red Hood, not quite drastically as Dick Grayson, but still, things have changed, and yeah, I figured it'd be pretty fun to talk about. So, the big change, first of all, was when Roy Harper died. He went and got a different suit. So Roy Harper, ever since the New 52, Roy Harper and Jason Todd have been best friends. It wasn't really like that before, as far as I know. Maybe they did something in the 2000s, but as far as I can remember, like, Dick Grayson and Roy Harper were good friends, but Jason Todd and Roy Harper weren't until really Red Hood and Outlaws and New 52, and then they became best friends because whatever reason they decided to do that. And it was a pretty good friendship. I liked their relationship. It was fun. But then Heroes in Crisis happened, which is a Tom King event that was absolutely terrible and the worst comic book event I've ever read in my life. And I also did a video on that, so if you want to check that out, make sure to. It's like a 25-minute video just going over everything that happens in that book, so that way you guys don't have to. Because it's a terrible book, and you should not buy it and read it. It is awful. Art is pretty in it, though, but the story is terrible. Anyways, during that, Wally West kills a bunch of people, and one of those people that he kills is Roy Harper. And so because of that, Jason Todd is very sad, and he ends up getting a new suit. I like the new suit. I personally prefer the old suit, the classic Red Hood suit where he's got the bat symbol on the chest, and he's got the red helmet, and then the sort of leather jacket. I like that. I think it looks cool. But the new suit's pretty cool, too. I like it as an alternative. I think it's cool when superheroes have different, alternative suits. I would prefer he go back to the other one, and I think he will eventually. But this is a cool alternative suit to have for, like, a couple dozen issues or something, just to have like a little run with it. I like it. If you haven't seen it, I'll obviously put it on screen. It looks pretty cool. He's actually got a hood now. Unlike before, his name was Red Hood, but he never had a hood. He just had that name because of the fact of the Joker. That's the whole reason he had that name. So yeah, I think it's cool that he's got a red hood now, and I like it. But anyways, Roy Harper died. Before Roy Harper died, he suggested Jason go and check out this thing that was going on to where I believe it's called the Underlife Project or something like that. It's this like shady thing to where a guy was experimenting with metahumans and stuff in like flyover states. So in middle America, he was just experimenting, doing bad guy stuff. Jason goes and stops him. It's not really that interesting of a story, but the interesting thing that happens during that is Miguel, this guy who was part of New 52 Teen Titans, aka Bunker. I'm not sure if he was part of the comics before the New 52. As far as I know, he wasn't. I hadn't read anything with him, but the New 52 happened, and they created a new Teen Titans team with Tim Drake leading it, and Bunker was part of it. And now Bunker is one of the people that was being experimented on by this guy, and Jason Todd ends up stopping the guy and saving Bunker, and so Bunker's back. So that was interesting, a New 52 throwback from a character that no one really cared about. I never really heard of anyone that was a Bunker fan, but Jason Todd saved him. And also along the way, he ran into Wingman, who's had a lot of different people be Wingman. Wingman is just a character that there have been a lot of different people that were him. The last I can recall, I believe Jason Todd was Wingman. He was pretending to be Wingman for whatever reason, like 10 years ago or something like that. But now Wingman is someone else, which I'll get into in a bit because it's revealed later on who Wingman is. But him and Jason Todd have a bit of a spat, and then they decide to actually team up. And after Jason Todd goes and shuts down this whole project, because that's what Roy Harper wanted to do, and that was sort of his like last hurrah to his best friend that died, he goes and he takes over the Iceberg Lounge, which is Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot's place. Because Oswald Cobblepot, back in, I believe this is Red Hood issue number 24, got shot in the face by Red Hood. Except he didn't die, so it was weird at the time what happened there, because at the time it was like, wait, he shot him in the face, like point blank, like gun pressed against his monocle, shoots him in the eye, and Cobblepot's just fine. He has some brain damage or whatever, but he's not dead, which was weird, but his health was all right. And then we get it revealed that Red Hood was actually not trying to kill Penguin. What happened was he shot him with a blank, and he did that on purpose because he didn't want him to die. He just wanted to ruin his life. So he shoots him with a blank. Shooting him with a blank directly against the monocle causes his monocle to break and sends glass shards through his eye into his brain. And so that takes out Cobblepot for a little bit, and since that takes him out, that allows Jason Todd to take over the Iceberg Lounge and take over Penguin's criminal operation. And so he takes that over, and through that he gets Cobblepot in trouble with like this ring of just like this crime lord ring. So people are going to be coming after Cobblepot, and he like ruins Cobblepot's life. That was his whole goal. Was just, he didn't want to kill Cobblepot. He just wanted to ruin his life. The reason he wanted to do that was because when Jason Todd was a kid, Jason Todd's father got put away to prison because of Cobblepot. So that's why he wanted to do it. He's like, you ruined my life when I was a kid, because when Jason Todd was a kid, his mom died and his dad went to prison, and then his dad supposedly died in prison. And so Jason was left orphaned, and then, everyone knows later on, Bruce Wayne took him in. But Cobblepot was the one that caused his life to be ruined. So that's why he's like, I'm gonna ruin Penguin's life. And so then he does that. He ruins his life, basically. But I thought it was kind of stupid. I feel like Jason would be much simpler than that and be like, nah, I'm just going to kill him. But it's one of those things where it's, you can't kill him. It's just Scott Lobdell writing Red Hood. You can't kill Penguin. He's a legendary Batman character. But I would have preferred it. Like, honestly, I don't think Penguin gets used that much. I like Penguin. He is a classic Batman character. But, I mean, in 5 years, you can bring him back. I don't think anyone's going to miss Penguin that much for 5 years. I feel like it would have been a lot more impactful for Red Hood to actually kill Penguin. You can have him you can either reboot in 5 years or have him get thrown into the Lazarus pit. It doesn't really matter, but they didn't have him kill him. I thought that was stupid. Like, oh, you ruined his life. Not really. Like, yeah, he took over the Iceberg Lounge from him, but Penguin's gonna get that back soon enough. It's kind of stupid. I feel like Jason would have been like, no, like he wasn't under the Red Hood, where he's like, no, we need to exterminate the vermin of Gotham. This guy ruined my life. I'm not gonna do this whole ruin his life. I'm just gonna kill him and end it. I feel like that's what Jason would have done, but he didn't. But whatever, fair enough. I mean, I can't really blame Scott Lobdell for that, because I don't think DC would have given him the go-ahead to kill Penguin. But anyways, he does that, and then he decides to give up control of the Iceberg Lounge to the leader of the Sioux Sisters, which are like these new characters that Lobdell created for his Red Hood run that Red Hood has its spat with, but they were working together, and then he gives them control of the Iceberg Lounge. She's like, I don't want to be the leader of the Iceberg Lounge, I don't really care. Then he goes off and does his new adventure thing. And we see that Wingman is like, oh man, I'm so proud of Red Hood. And when Red Hood leaves, we see that Wingman is actually Jason Todd's father. So Wingman the whole time was just chilling with Red Hood because Jason Todd is his son. And we know that it's actually him, because earlier, a couple issues ago, Jason Todd talked about how his father had a Batman tattoo on his right arm. Well, he had a Batarang tattoo. And that's how he knew this other guy who was claiming his father wasn't him. But then we see Wingman has that tattoo. Jason doesn't see it, so Jason doesn't know. He still thinks his father died in prison. He doesn't know that Wingman is his father. So that was a reveal. They haven't really done much with that yet. I'm assuming that will play further into the issues, because right now we're dealing with Year of the Villain, which I've talked a little bit about before in my Nightwing video. And I plan on doing a video on Year of the Villain, because I'm not the biggest fan of the event. Mainly how it all came together, because Lex Luthor, there's a lot of things that Lex Luthor does that Luthor would never do. Maybe we'll see when it wraps up. It might be better. But also, I hate events that take every book into it, like make every book a crossover. It's stupid, because you're taking creative writers and making them, hey, that storyline that you want to do, you can't do it. You need to tie into Year of the Villain. I think that's stupid. But for Red Hood, what happens is, so, okay, first let me catch you guys up on Year of the Villain if you don't know what's going on, if you haven't read DC Comic in years. Year of the Villain is an event where Lex Luthor decides that he is going to go and reach out to all these different villains and offer them something as long as they join him. So he's going to offer them whatever it is, like their deepest, darkest desire. So he comes to Red Hood and he says, hey, I have a new generation of villains, like these young teenagers. I want you to teach them. And he's like, I know you'll teach them, because I'm offering you the chance to, to get it right where Batman got it wrong, was basically what he said. Because, Batman did wrong by Jason Todd, at least that's how Jason sees it. And so he's like, now you can be a mentor to these kids in a way Batman never was to you. So it's like, okay, I'll take it. It's really stupid. It doesn't make sense. I don't see Jason doing it. Like, just be like, oh, you have like 6 random kids that are like, that you want to be the next supervillains. I'll teach them. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all, but whatever. That's what's going on right now. It's not very interesting. I don't really care about the kids that Jason's teaching. Nothing's interesting about it. My favorite issue actually was the annual. I believe it was the 3rd annual. Let me see. Yeah, it was actually the Red Hood Outlaw annual number 3. So this issue tells us what happened to Bizarro and Artemis. So I did not read Red Hood and the Outlaws until it became a solo book, because I didn't care about a Red Hood team-up book. I really like Jason Todd. I think he's a cool character. I like him a lot, has Red Hood. But his team-up series I don't care about. Like, I didn't really read much of Red Hood and the Outlaws in New 52, and then Rebirth, same thing. But then Bizarro and Artemis disappeared. I didn't read the issue where they disappeared. Apparently, we didn't really know what happened. They just kind of disappeared. In the annual, we see that they were transported to another dimension, and the dimension they were transported to was really cool. So the dimension they were transported to was this place to where like a bomb went off. No one really knows what happened, but a bomb went off, and it made it to where every metahuman, all their powers got taken away, and every normal person got powers. So the people that got powers felt sort of like they were overcoming dictators, basically, even though the superheroes weren't dictators. They felt like, oh, this whole time they had been sort of patronized and treated like lesser, so the people with powers now went and killed all the metahumans. Like Superman's dead, Green Lantern's dead, Flash is dead, like they killed all of them because they didn't have powers anymore, and the normal people did, and like evil rose up. And so it's this post-apocalyptic future, and it's really cool. Like, it's a really cool issue. And we see that Bizarro and Artemis help the dimension. If you don't know who Artemis is, she's just some like disgraced sort of Amazonian. I don't know much about her other than what I've read in this series, but yeah, she's pretty cool. And they help this resistance to take out the bad guys, which is Lex Luthor, who his meta power is just his brain's really big. He reminded me kind of MODOK from Marvel with how he is now, and also General Samuel Lane, Lois Lane's father. They were like the two big baddies behind it all, and they end up taking them out, and then they transport to another dimension, and they're trying to get back to Red Hood, and then they're going to reunite soon enough. But yeah, that's what's going on with Red Hood currently. It's not that good of a book. It's not the worst. I've always said that Scott Lobdell is the most average writer on the planet. Like, he's not bad, but he's not good either. He's kind of, I mean, he has his moments where it's good and it's moments where it's bad, but for the most part, it's just the most middle-of-the-road stuff ever. I'm kind of mad that he's had basically exclusivity to Red Hood over the years. It's disappointing because he's just not that good. Like, I don't get it. Red Hood should be a really popular character, but I feel like he's kind of held him back because ever since the New 52, so back in 2011, no one but Scott Lobdell has written a Red Hood title. And also, it's been a team book for most of it until, until I don't know, 8 issues ago or however long. So that part's kind of stupid to me. But also, Red Hood showed up in the current DC big event from Bendis, Leviathan, and in that, Damian Wayne surmises that that Leviathan, who's this big group that has been taking out all the intelligence agencies in the DC universe, he surmises that, oh, it's Jason Todd. And so a bunch of detectives, including like Green Arrow and Batman, The Question, all of them, they all go after Red Hood. It's actually like my favorite Red Hood moment in a while. Red Hood beats the crap out of a lot of them and escapes, and it's really cool because who would have thought that Brian Michael Bendis would be the guy to make Red Hood badass again? Because in his own series, Red Hood's kind of whatever. He gets his ass kicked a lot, and he's like not that impressive, but in this, he was like actually badass. A lot of it's probably due to Alex Maleev's art, but still, it's cool seeing him fend off Batman and a bunch of others and escaping. Like, he actually made him badass again, which I never saw Bendis doing that. But yeah, that's where Red Hood's at now. So in Leviathan, he's accused of being Leviathan. It's not him, though. And in his current series, he's Yuri the Villain. He's training these villains for Lex Luthor. But yeah, again, I wish we'd get a solo Red Hood series written by a really good writer. Like, put a really good team on it, says Scott Lobdell, who I don't hate Scott Lobdell. He's just very middle of the road. He's not like someone that's going to elevate a character or anything like that. But yeah, if you guys have been reading Red Hood and the Outlaws, or Red Hood Outlaw, let me know in the comments below. What do you think of it? How do you think Scott Lobdell's been doing? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. On my grind all day, gonna make $1 million, son, that someday. You know I'm in the building when I write this way. Put me in the ground when I bite this game,